Welcome to the Soul Channel report for March 2019. It's Allie. I hope you're having a great day. I'm really looking forward to this topic. I'm just gonna share it really quick. Oh, hello, Linda. How are you today? How's everybody doing this week, or this month and this week? But I would love to, hey, Alexa, I would love to hear how everybody's been feeling, what the month has been like. This is the Soul Channel report. April, Chuck, wow. I love who's on here right now. So I'm just gonna share this with our friends, and then we'll just get going. And, okay, I think that's it for now. All right, cool. Oh, one more thing I want to do. Sorry, gotta do it. If it's possible. And it is. Okay. Just get yourself, if you're joining us today, and I hope you are, just get yourself ready to go, to relax and receive. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Hi, Abby. Hi, April. Hi, everybody who's here. And we're here in the March Soul Channel report. Hi, Kim. And I've been doing these about 5 years, every month. And it's one of the ways I work with the Akashic Records. And the Akashic Records is an energetic access point where we tune in, there's a prayer we use, and we connect to like the universal filing cabinet. Everything of vibration, everything, each one of us, our relationships, the things we care about on this planet, the land, projects that we're here to create, everything that's going to happen here, everything's going to happen everywhere, but for our purposes, everything that's happening here, you can think of it as a vibrational file that's in this filing cabinet. And so one of my deep practices is just every month I tune in, and I open the file, and I open the file for all the clients and all the programs I run and for myself, but I also open the file for the Soul Channel report and the energy of the month. And then I work out the energy throughout the month, and then I like to do these videos and these articles. Right at the moment where I know everybody is probably activated what this month is about, and maybe you're looking for a little support and boost. Hey, Joe. And so that's why I typically do these a little later in the month. So that's what this is. And we've been doing it for 5 years, and we've got a whole community. Hi, Carrie, who shares this every month. And so if you're watching this live or recorded, you were meant to be here. You're connected to this soul file. And so right now I just want to share the message of the month, the way we can work with it, and also we'll go into the Akashic Records and we'll experience a live activation. And I do just want to let you know, oh, hey, are you in Brazil, Lisa? It's good to have you here. I do just want to let you know that the foundations of all of the teaching of the Soul Innovator work and the records and everything we do, I wrote a book, and then I'm taking the chapters and I turned it into this like program because I want to work with people live with the content of the book. It's like the content that always comes through in the sessions and the programs, but I wanted to create it. What's happening in Brazil right now? It's good to have you here. And I'd love for you to join me if that feels right for you. We start this week. There's still time to join us. I put the link in here. It's called the Soul Innovator Playbook. And it's basically like bringing the book to life, and then all of you are the characters of the book. You know what I mean? It's going to be great. Okay, let's take a breath here. There's a lot of energy. I'm getting loopy is what I thought of, and that's actually the theme for the month. So the theme for March 2019 for the Soul Channel report is working with loops, and what loops are, and what is looping in your life. And you may have been feeling like you're on some loops. It's been quite a ride for most of us. So let's just take a few breaths here and ground into, wow, just what a potent energy March is. And it's also, every time we're in an equinox or solstice month, it's a huge transition. There's usually a lot of climactic, culminating energies that we've been working through for a specific cycle. Oh, I'm loopy too. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Stacy. And we're getting ready to go through like a portal to the next cycle. So and we're right on that. We're right about to be at the March equinox. So there's a lot of energy typically building, and this month in particular, wow. So let's just take a few breaths here, and let's really connect with where we are right now. Taking some breaths, and I like to breathe in the energy of space. So take a couple breaths and just feel where you might need some space right now in your body, in your thoughts, in your life, in your world. Take a few more breaths of space. And now let's just call in some possibility, and we're just going to take a breath here of possibility. I like to that's how we do the energy work in the sessions. You're just breathing in. Everything is an energy. So just breathe in possibility here. Wherever you'd like to create possibility for your life, for the world, for your body, for just everything. Create some possibility. Take another breath in here. And I keep getting the word practice right now. So I feel that whoever's on this or is going to be watching this, there's a calling on you to really sync back up with a practice. And part of why this month was so loopy was because when things feel loopy and destabilized, we can't hold on to everything. We really can only hold on to the things that are crucial and that are actually mission critical. And so there's some practices for all of us that are here to support you in this month. And they could be anything. A practice is just something you do consistently. And so just take what have your practices been this month? Let's just start there. What have you been practicing consistently this month? Practice means anything you've been doing consistently. So just feel in, like, what's your practice been like this month? The practice of being a human being. How have you been practicing it? Take a few breaths here. And now feel into the energy of the practices, the things we practice consistently in this human experience that is possible for us. Let's breathe in the practices that'll really support the last half of this month and the equinox for you. And just take a breath here. And just begin to let whatever that practice is. Hi, Melissa. We're just tuning in here with the energy, and we're connecting to a practice that would be really supportive. So how do you want to practice being a human being the rest of this month? That's the question. Just take a few breaths here. And just let's just take another moment here, another minute. It's nice sometimes to just get into a quiet, reflective space as a group. It's nice to be alone together sometimes, So just exhale out here and just go even one step deeper into your own body and your own brain, your own sensation here. Take some breaths. And the message I want to share with you right now is to let your body and your brain be a safe, loving place for your consciousness right now. So with another breath in, just remember that whatever's going on, you've got you. And that's in the Soul Innovator Playbook this week, is really about, we try to go to self-love before we go to self-enjoyment. Or like we try to go to sex before we go to connection, right? Like there's all these ways we try to go to like the culmination of developing trust and connection and enjoyment. We try to go to like the end chapter before we read the rest of the book. And so I want you to just feel like if you've been trying to feel more trusting of yourself or loving of yourself or whatever you got going on, let's just enjoy being in our bodies for a minute. And some of us might have been having an uncomfortable month in our bodies. So like just find the space that you could actually find some enjoyment in being this person in this body. And let's just start there. Let's take a few more breaths and just come into quiet and just find some simple enjoyment of being this personality and this consciousness that's living here in this body. Take a few breaths here and just drop into that. Beautiful. One more breath here. Just, I'm going to find some enjoyment in being this person and being in this body. I'm going to find some enjoyment in that. Breathe in the space and possibility that you could enjoy being this person in these circumstances. Breathe here. Wonderful. And there's a really strong energy here of just knowing that you're so loved, you're so embraced, you're so recognized, and there's just energy. I call it our non-physical team. We talk about this in the playbook as well, but we've got a non-physical team of guides and guardians and teachers and ancestry and us from different moments of this life and other lives. And there's just a strong message to tell all of you that every time you sink deeper into being your own friend and enjoying the experience of being in this body, you can let in so much more love, and they're all around you. There's so much energy around all of us. There always is, but in times of transition, this is a major transition point, there's just so much love here around us. Hey, Lori. Good to have you all here. Hi, Jen. So, oh, that's nice. I feel good. So, so this month, the theme was loop. And I actually tuned into this the last day of February, and I was sitting in the ocean in Miami Beach. And some of you know, February was like a very all over, it's been a while for me of just a lot of traveling and all over the place. And it was my last day before I came back to LA. And I opened the records to find out the theme for all of us for this video and like what we do here. And I got the message of just, and I wanted to hear like, oh, it's smooth sailing now, you know, like I wanted that sort of message. And it was immediately like, well, you'll be tested. This is going to be a month where all of you are going to be tested to your limit, to your perceived capacity. And I was like, oh God. And then it was like, and you're going to be looking and learning about loops and what loops are. And you're going to have to cycle through a lot of loops. And I didn't quite understand what that meant yet. And I knew I needed to experience some of the loops so that I could really offer this transmission. So that's why I also haven't done it until now. And it was interesting because one sort of like loop or one sort of totem the whole time I was in Florida, and I've spent a lot of time in Miami Beach my whole life, was manatees. I've never seen so many. I don't know if I'd ever seen a manatee hanging out in Miami. The second I got to my brother's new house, manatees started swimming. Every day when I was doing my practices, manatees would swim up. And I've been in the ocean in Miami a lot of times. I've never seen a manatee. And right as I opened the records and I was hearing like, hey, this is going to be an intense month for all of you. You're really going to be tested. And so I started asking about all the things, you know, and it was like, listen, you'll all work it out the way you always do. And literally at that moment, I saw a shadow and a manatee swam right up to me, like right here. And I had looked into it, and manatees, the totem of manatees, some of you might know about it, but they're basically like the sloth of the ocean, and they're like, don't resist what's going on. Like, find the enjoyment. Slow down and find the enjoyment in the process. So I knew in the end this was going to be good. The manatee swam right up. but I needed to really get clear on what the loops are. And now I am clear. And so I'm looking forward to sharing this with you because you may be finding that you've been in some loops this month already. So what the Akasha has meant and what the energy of this transmission right now is about the loop of cycling back, going through. Now, we've already been in a Mercury retrograde. Probably a lot of people know about that. And it's interesting to be in a retrograde at an equinox. So there's this retrograde of having to like cycle back. People talk a lot about the technical issues or like weird communication, but really what a retrograde is saying, hey, you didn't actually finish that. You didn't actually finish everything you'd need to do to sign that contract. You didn't actually get in total alignment with sending that email. You actually don't need to be on your computer right now. You don't actually need to be focused on this. There's something that comes before that. And so a retrograde gives you the opportunity to revisit and cycle back through the things you thought were complete and actually complete them. So what's interesting about that is when we're in a retrograde, right as we're coming into the spring equinox or the autumn equinox, because I know there's people on both sides here watching this, but it's like we're coming into that equinox, which is a powerful birth, rebirth, death, life, rebirth energy, especially where we are here, right? Spring, it's like a big opening, a big blossoming of a beginning. And then for people on the other side of the world, it's like really harvesting what you've been creating. So overall, it's just a very abundant, sensual, creative, powerful time. And so we're coming into that energy and we want to cleanse and we want to release. And yet here we are cycling back into these loops. And I've noticed for myself, like having to cycle back into emotional and environmental and like financial and relational, like just these loops that I've been in before. And I've noticed for a lot of clients the same thing, like they're having to revisit something or something that has been a major issue in their life is finally having resolution or completion. So they've had to really revisit how it's actually affected them now that they can finally be like, oh my God, it's complete. And like I have some clients who are like, oh my gosh, I just booked tickets to go back to this place, or I'm meeting back up with that person, or we're all finding ourselves back in these loops with different spots that we kind of want to be finished, or we might have a story of, I can't trust myself with that person or in that city or in this sort of pattern. And so I can't ever revisit it. And so the message is, remember, the Soul Channel report for this entire year, 2019, is the year of love. So every month, I forgot to say this, and now I'm going to tell you because it makes a lot of sense for this message. Every month, we're going to look at the theme and the message, and we're going to let it love us. So how can we let returning, having to recycle, having to go back to something that you were praying you'd never have to deal with before, having to go, blah, 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 having to go back to it. It's like, how can you let these loops love you? That's really what the question is. And at this point in the month, and maybe just take a moment to just kind of breathe and be with yourself. Like, what have you been revisiting? What is the thing you're back in? Where are you feeling called? And for me too, it's been like family, and creating that photo album and like remembering who I was, remembering my intentions as a child, as an artist, as a healer, as a part, like what has always been really important to me? Like what is the thing that I've really been here for? And it's like we're all being given the opportunity to revisit and really let these loops love us. And we're also seeing a lot of programming breaking down. So there's some really interesting, exciting media I've noticed, like so many exciting films and documentaries and performances are happening right now. And there's also been a lot of disclosure of really upsetting things where we have to revisit a whole way we thought about someone or experienced something or connected to something and realize like, oh, like I was a little bit in the matrix there. That's not actually the truth. And I need to revisit my relationship to this piece from this new, more empowered place, right? So one way we're going to let the loops love us. So this is basically what's going on. So if you've been back in a loop of like, I can't believe this is fucking happening again, That's the energy of this month, and it's the energy of shedding what you actually hadn't really completed yet, and really coming into this equinox. And just every month in the timing we're in now just picks up more and more speed. There's so much power, there's so much compression, there's so much unprecedented energy all the time. So the way we're going to let ourselves be loved by the loops is, first of all, use it to empower yourself. So there's this guy, Steve Pavlina. I've seen a lot of people who are like conscious people or teachers talking about the idea of the reality simulator. And what if God isn't bad or good, it's neutral? What if everything that's happening is just happening and it's a simulation that we've created, and we can just decide what we want next with less intensity, with less intense practice, with less like having to apologize, with less having to do all this? What if it's all just a little less intense and a little less destined with a capital D? Like that's kind of a new teaching that a lot of people are sharing right now, is what if it's just like, oh, this is the programming, this is the simulation I'm experiencing as this person in this lifetime. Like God tried to deliver me something good, but what if God was like a human being, where human beings fuck up a little bit sometimes? Like there's a new teaching that's really coming through a lot of people like that. So how we would let ourselves love ourselves in this loop is just realize like, oh, it's not about this. It's not about this person or losing this thing or having this, whatever misfortune you felt like you had, or challenge or shameful thing you're working out. Remember, as soul innovators, the thing we're most in shame about is the thing we're here to innovate. I think we can successfully say at this point, like, this is what we've been saying the last 5 or 6 years in the soul innovator work, right? Like, school's not working, money's not working, sex is not working. Like, all these things are breaking down and dismantling, and like, it's really reflected constantly to us right now. Like, wow, shit isn't working. And it's like, yeah, cool. We need to revisit that because we're here to rebuild it and recreate it, and we're the innovators and we're sounding the alarm. So remember that if you're in the loop right now, it's not about the thing. I know it feels like it's the thing, but most likely whatever's most triggering to you right now, if you look at it, this is not the first time you've been in this scenario. If this is a reality simulator, you're like on the you're in the 4th level of the game. So it feels more intense, and you have some tools from when you like played the first 3 levels of this video game, but like, this character, the designer made this character too, right? Like, if you want to think of it that way. Like, oh yeah, I know this. So take a breath with whatever loop has really gotten you loopy, and just realize like, this is not the first time, and this isn't the first level of it, and it's not really about this. It's about just getting over this whole loop of this sort of drama. So let's just take a breath there and recognize that this is not the first time. And the other thing is, you're not the same person. So another way you could let this loop love you is like, hey, I'm not I'm not the same person. I am on level 4 or 5 or 6. I have done the other levels. I do have more strategy. I do have more tools. I am glad that the characters are more exaggerated and dramatic, because it's like, enough already. And so if you can see that it's a loop, it's a home run already. Because now you recognize the loop and you realize it's not about any of the circumstances. And then life can just be creative and interesting and change and grow with you, because you're not so obsessively gripped to things looking and maintaining in a certain way, because it's a loop and the loop needs to change form. Now, when you really see that, the other thing is that you want to create space. So this is a great time to clear out your home and clear out your internal body and your external world. Like, this is a great time to take stock, because again, it's sort of like the beginning energy that we were in of the practices. It's like when you're being in the upside down part of the loop, it's like you can't hold on to everything. So this is a great time to create space. So for me, it's like there's a loop that's been going on since I was a child, of a way I'm supposed to create media and create art in the world. And I know that's actually why I'm in Los Angeles. And like, I sort of have gripped to a different way of being here where I didn't quite know how to do that. And so, but I'm back in the loop that's always been there since I was 2 years old, that I know there's something I'm here to do here. And I kind of let myself visit other loops of karma with family who has moved here, or different experiences I've had with work and my purpose and creativity. And so I'm still not quite sure how this is coming together, but I got clear that that's the loop I've been in. So now I need to create space. I need time to be around a lot of art. I need time to be creating a lot of art. And I need time to just meditate and like not get too distracted by things that don't really matter, so that the answer can come through. I need to get quiet. So once you've empowered yourself to realize you're in the loop, the second piece is now you got to create space, because now you need to spiral out of the loop. Once you know you're in the loop, you don't belong in the loop anymore. Does that make sense? It's like when what's that movie Jim Carrey was in, when he realized he was The Truman Show? It's like once you know you're on The Truman Show, you can't keep being Truman. So it's kind of the same thing here. Now you got to get quiet. I now realize that. I still don't have all the answers of how I get to build this art and the innovative way it's going to happen, but I know I need to spiral out. And then you just start to realize, think about every time you've spiraled out of a loop, there's always an amazing person or friend or partner. There's people who show up. There's inspiration that shows up. There's opportunities that show up to give you a helping hand to help you spiral out of the loop. So you want to make sure you're creating space so that that next hand, if it's a person, if it's a thought, if it's a practice, can help spiral you out of the loop. And then the last part is just to forget the ending, because again, we're spiraling out, right? We're spiraling out. So the ending is not so important anymore. We know the ending. We've been in the loop of the ending. Now what we want to do is just honor the past, but really become devoted to the present and to the future, and really begin to notice, like, that's what will spiral you out of the loop. You're being spiraled towards right now, this moment, and towards the future that you want to create. And the way I got the message to share this right before we started this video was to honor the past, like you're a graduate of the past. Like you're a graduate of that loop. You can be proud that you circled that loop. You're a soul innovator. You were here to experience that and be challenged by it and thrive, and then outgrow it, and then get scared. Like the whole thing you were meant to do as an innovator, because everything's dismantling and we're all part of this beautiful rebirth of the planet. So you can honor the past, but you don't go there. You can honor being a graduate. You can be proud that you're a graduate of the college you're from, but you graduated. So yes, you have the experience of that in your system, but you don't go to class. You wouldn't go to class today. You wouldn't go back there. So I want you to think of the loops you've been in and the ending in particular of the loops thus far, because they've never ended, right? Because it's a loop. So we want to think about it now as realizing, like, I'm a graduate of that. And I honor that experience, and I'm proud of that experience. And I'm not going there anymore because I completed. I'm not going to class anymore there. And I'm now a student of the future. And I'm a student of the present. And the thing is that I don't need to know everything yet. It would be like if it was your first day at a new school, you wouldn't possibly have all the information that would make you a graduate of that program yet. That's that, right? Just wouldn't make sense. So you want to think of this month as spiraling you into your new school, to your new reality, to your new education. And we're all doing it together. So that was the biggest, hey Jennifer, those were the biggest messages for all of us about loops. Hey Kim, and how to loop out of them. And that's really what I wanted to share in terms of content. Second time today I heard I will be tested. Talking about being tested, I fell down, noticing a lot of history on TV from kings and queens. Looking at all of this makes it feel lighter. Good, this makes so much sense. Wow, beautiful. I don't know, all of your messages are coming immediately right now, unless they are all coming right now. What immediately came to me was to ground as if it's happening. Let's look at this. Usually I spiral when I'm not centered. Like you were saying, there's something out of alignment. Hey, Gemma. this makes so much sense to what I've been saying, is to look at something with very neutral eyes, to lessen the trigger and not let it take power over me as if I'm still in the loop. All right, these are beautiful awarenesses. Yeah, and what I want to what I'd want to invite to, Lori, is like spiral is usually like spiral, like I'm bugging out. Like, what if spiral could be like, whoop? Like, what if we could stop, let's ground down and spiral up. So typically, actually, what I'm seeing energetically when you say this, Lori, is typically what we do is we try to ground up. So we're like, get me the fuck out. And so we're like grounding up, trying to leave our body, leave our circumstances, leave the scenario. And then we end up spiraling down. So what we want to do this time is we want to ground down and spiral up. Does that make sense, everybody? So we want to ground down and say yes to our body, yes to the circumstances, yes to who we are. Recognize we've been in this loop and ground into the truth of knowing that, and ground into the truth of knowing there's all these different ways we can let this loop love us, right? And we're going to get empowered by that, and we're going to ground into that, and then we're going to spiral up. So let's actually end with some energy here. Now, we did a little already, so this will just be like a nice little finishing with the Akasha. And I do want to remind you, if like this is resonating, if this is lighting up for you, if this feels like, yes, this is what's happening, and this way, this perspective and this energy feels good, it makes sense, join us for the Soul Innovator Playbook. We start this week, and it's just a fun, it's going to be fun and deep and connected, but it's also just going to be a great way to have a super clear, grounded foundation of how to like move through the world we're in right now, because we're not here as martyrs. We're here as innovators. That's kind of been the same thing for most generations. This generation, we're innovators, and we're not martyrs, and we're not dictators. That's the other one. Like, usually the people who are introducing something had either had to trample on the past or like be trampled, and then later on they're respected. We're not doing it like that now. We're doing it in a really like pleasurable, abundant, clear, supported way. And so if you're interested in that, I would love to have you in it. You can private message me. You can look at the link on there. And so we're just going to complete here, and let's just close our eyes. And I'm feeling, you may not be sitting on the floor like me, but I'm feeling really called to like hold my feet. And I'm thinking about what we just said, right? Like ground into this time. You may want to make sure your feet are on the floor, actually. And let's just ground into knowing that this is the month, that this was the month that we were tested. Just like in a school or a program where you're given a few final tests, because it's time to leave that loop. It's time to leave that schedule. It's time to leave that particular experience of reality. And so there's a few tests, and you revisit information that you've been learning for quite a while, just to recognize that you're now someone who has access to the information to complete that test. And so I want you to just breathe here, feel your feet on the ground, and recognize yourself as someone who has the information to move through this test. Breathing here, time to leave that loop, honoring the loop, being grateful for the loop. And now with the next few breaths, letting all the drama, stress, the same loopy thinking, getting to just let that kind of melt off your shoulders, off your back. And beginning to look forward towards what is right now, what feels right now. And just breathe here and let yourself just begin to notice that you're physically, emotionally, energetically beginning to point towards the next part. You're beginning to spiral out, staying really grounded and clear, but we're beginning to spiral out of this whole story. Breathing here. And with your next few breaths, I want you to just feel in your mind's eye, in your body, in the energy around you, everything that's calling you forward now. All the people that will be impacted and supported by your next part of the reality, all the colleagues, the friends, the children, just all the environments, all the projects, whatever it is for you. But I want you to feel there is so much energy calling us forth right now, and reminding us, right? Like, this isn't just a revisit, it's a remember. Everything you're moving towards right now, you've always known you were going to move towards. Really let that in, like, all the way. Everything that you need to now move towards, this is just a remembering. You always knew you were going to move towards this at this point. But we're not here to read a script. That's not part of the reality simulation. We're here to, it needs to feel organic, because it is organic. But you always knew this was a part of the journey. So feel yourself remembering that. Feel yourself remembering that. Take a few more breaths here. And now just say out loud, I've graduated from the past. I've graduated from the past loop. I'm ready to leave now. And just feel yourself honoring, like the university it was, the past loops you've been in, the past lessons, all the players, everyone you kept recycling into the story to play similar roles. Just feel gratitude for all of it, for this technology, for the energy of the records that always holds us. Take a few breaths here. And now feel yourself, and maybe orient yourself, like move your body a little bit and just turn towards what's true now. Turn towards the sun. Turn towards the light. Turn towards the possibility. Turn towards this space. Turn towards these new amazing people and ideas and experiences that are here to help spiral you up as you stay grounded in your truth. We know that we're always connected here. We know the work that needed to be done today is still happening. It's going to continue to unravel as we go through towards the equinox. And now we're breathing back into existence, the door between worlds. And the records are closed, and that loop is closed. And you've created an opening to the next part of your year and the next part of your reality. And just breathe into that and know that is true. And now get ready to listen. The rest of today or tonight and this week, just have your ears open. Be willing to recognize the new lessons, the new lesson plan. Awesome. So thank you all for sharing that. Yes to all of that. I just want to share this. This is like, there was just a loop that I've been spiraling out of, and it was so interesting. I had some friends over this weekend, and we were going out, but before we did, we went into like a circle, like, you know, as one might do, and we were in a loop, right? And we really supported and prayed over everybody's intentions for what they were grounding into and spiraling out towards, right, in their life. And when I came home, it was like officially March 17th, because it was later at night. And I felt called that day, you just start to follow the environment. I felt called to go into the garage because I'm cleaning and clearing stuff out. And I found this plastic bin of papers, and I just felt called to bring it in, and I just felt called to open it when I got home. And I know it might show it upside down on here. I just was like, wow, this is like support the way the loops can work with us. So this is my grandmother recently passed away this winter, some of you know, and you know, that was a big transition for me. And I found this stationery she had written to me right when I was looping up into the next part of my career, actually. This is from May 2011. So 2011 is like when I started to really activate working with the Akashic Records, and I had to spiral out of the business I was in. I had to spiral out of the relationship. I was living like my first really serious relationship. I had to spiral out of that. And I was spiraling up towards really doing the work I've been doing the last 7 and 8 years. And so my grandmother had sent me this in the mail when she found out that I was like moving out and, you know, had left, you know, like leaving the relationship I was in. And I found this on St. Patrick's Day this year. And this wasn't even St. Patrick's Day when she sent this to me. And I just want this to be a message for all of us who might need it right now. So it's a pot of gold and like a leprechaun. But she sent it in like May, right? And it says, she made me a little like piece of art that I want to share with all of you if you might need it right now, if you're spiraling out of a loop. So she put peace. She found this thing that says peace, and it says, peace of mind, it's okay. Everything turns out for the better. And then she took stationery that said harmony, and she wrote, try to live in harmony with your ambitions. And then the final thing she put says love, and it says, I love you and I will always be here and over there. Which to me feels like, yeah, here or in spirit, right? I'll always be here and over there for you. And just says, it's time for you to feel better. And that's it. And it was like, isn't that amazing? It's like, to me, that's getting to have fun with the loops. So the last time I was spiraling out of a loop that feels as like, as this one feels, was spring 2011, which was bringing me towards this whole journey of the work I get to do now around the world and teaching the Akasha and moving to Venice and everything that's happened, right? As I was spiraling out, my grandmother sent this to me, and then I found it right when I would have needed to hear that message again on St. Patrick's Day with this stationery. And I'll just keep going. I found this little flyer from my dad. My dad was a musician. And I found the same thing right next to my grandmother's message, and it says, he's back. He's back. And it's his name, and it's because it was like a flyer for some place he was playing on St. Patrick's Day with a little clover. So I just say that to say, I just really enjoyed finding those and recognizing like that's part of the fun of letting the loops love you. I'm revisiting things. I'm reusing things. I'm re-understanding things. I'm rewiring things. And then the messages that were always meant to support me and loop, you know, were part of the old loop but are meant to spiral me up and out, they make themselves known again. It's just amazing. I love living this way and being able to see all of this. And so I just want you to know, I'm sure this was a message for all of us, that peace of mind, it's okay. Things are always turning out for the better. Try to live in harmony with your ambitions and know that I will always love you and be here and over there for you. And it's time to feel better. So I'm going to take that as a message that's for all of us. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hi, Linda. And yeah, I loved it too. I just thought it was cool. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Hey, Dre. And Soul Innovator Playbook. I would do it. I am doing it, but I would do it even if I wasn't the one running it. Hello, Graham. Hello, guys. Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day. All right, all. Sending you lots of love and hugs. I'm glad everyone's as excited as I am but this is what it is when you live this way. Like, life gets to be magical all the time. It's all around all of us all the time. Aww. And it made me, well, it didn't make me tear up this time, but I've shed plenty of tears lately. So I might have just been taking a break, but thank you. And I know you recently lost a grandmother as well. So it's all around us all the time, and it gets to be fun. And this is a very intense moment in the world, and we're the ones. We're the ones we've been waiting for. So let's have fun with it, and let's find the magic all around us because it's here. Oh, good to see you, Heather. All right, all. Have a good start to your week, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Bye.